Since 2018, I've honoured a pact with you, the viewer, to search for cooked people running for election at various tiers of Australian government and, to simply list them in videos. While I've done that, I've always adopted the aesthetic of Pokemon hunting. And as you know, that's only because I perceive the strangest, most unique people to be kind of rare Pokemon worth catching. Don't you agree? But we're in 2022 now, and I'm looking at the state election, and I don't know about you, but I get the feeling that Victoria is a little bit cooked out. I mean, are there still rare beasts around? Hell yeah. And are they cute and interesting? Sure, as I'm sure you'll see in a moment. But when you consider the scope of what's happening in Victoria, or Australia, or even the globe more broadly, and lots of us do, right? I get the sense, and I have a stake in this because I'm someone who talks about cookers a lot myself. The discourse, I use that term super generously, the discourse around Dictator Dan and his totalitarian communist outreach is kind of falling on deaf ears. What's going on more broadly? The cost of living's going up. We've got multiple ecological crises going on right now. Energy shortages. Abroad we have a financial system in collapse. There's active war in Europe. There's imminent global conflict and imminent climate catastrophe, and in that context, shrill cries about Dan Andrews standing outside his office waving around placards, they kind of begin right now to ring a little hollow, particularly after years of it. But let's have a look, because this is my calling, and you come to me for Kook News. I know, I'm a Kook News provider. If you're upset with the absence of a Pokemon shtick this time around, because I'm going a little lighter on it, I'm sorry, we're easing off it. If you're upset about that, might I suggest that you try and apprehend the world outside of the lens of popular children's games, you fucking man-child. Is that okay? I just want to talk about these people. Can I just do that without it always being Pokemon with you? Go suck off a fucking Funko Pop if you want kids things. I'm not a child. I'm an adult man. I'm not Isaac Butterfield. I'm not trying to get children to bump my algorithm for money. Let's be grown-ups while we look at kooks, Okay, alright, maybe, look, you can have a little bit of Pokemon. Growing up takes time. Little Pokemon is a treat. Up first we have ungrouped independents are where you can find some real rare jewels. In my experience, they range from harmless, fix the local road, do the local thing, I'm your local pal types, who we always like, that's always good politics, through to legalise incest, murder our mothers types who we don't like so much. And then you get a few of the whole, we can fix the dandenongs by turning trees into quantum computers types who we are ambivalent about, but we like looking at. Things feel very different now, though. I note a notable flattening of the kook discourse into a very sack Dan Andrews COVID-19 scamdemic Bill Gates kind of approach, which, let's be honest, makes him a bit more boring. You've got the Teal Independents, an affiliated grouping of mostly middle-class professional women trying to sell libs on not believing that climate change is a UN conspiracy to replace the white race. Good luck with that. There's a reaction to this from other independents that are a bit more conservative, and they call themselves, it seems to me, they're doing this hashtag thing called Real Not Teal. Michael Doyle from Ashwood is one example. Michael is a staunch independent, so much so that he says he's entirely self-sufficient. Made his own website, doesn't take donations. Good luck, local, state politician posturing there. This is all fair and fine. But old mate also wants to remove mandatory voting, which I'm a bit iffy on, and doesn't exactly have the best grasp on safe injection rooms. Another real not teal is Jane Aguirtan. She is a racist. When I talk about kooks, I don't necessarily think of racists, I'm not saying they're not kooks, it's just that I conceive of a racist as a horrible shit person. I'm usually looking for more novel strains of being a kook than just being a racist. That's just being a shit cunt to me. And I don't think racism comes from stupidity, it comes from a desire for more power. So fuck you, Jane. Go lose badly and hate yourself forever, please. One particular little guy I must highlight is John Kasley Tiger for Brighton. During the pandemic, John handed out flyers with inflammatory, deranged and anti-Semitic COVID-19 conspiracy theories. Tiger is the head of a fan club for David Icke, which is pretty cool. Craig Cole he's an ex-wrestler. His wrestler name was Pitbull. He was one of the first wave anti-lockdown influencers, and I was covering him from way back in March, April 2020. He once challenged the Victorian Police Commissioner to a punch-on at Fed Square.
How about me and you go toe-to-toe, champ, and then we'll see how tough you are.
And the deal was, so he said, if the police commissioner were to lose that fight with the ex-pro wrestler, then lockdowns would end. The police commissioner did not take him up on the offer. He also once said he'd shoot politicians if elected. Not himself, presumably. Some people get a pink slip. The best indie, however, is one Darren Bergworth. Darren's wild. Darren's the only candidate in this video, I promise you that, who has developed a secret hidden shadow council. I am going to go so far as to say, I bet you he'll be the only person I'll ever cover who will have done that. That's right, you heard me, a shadow council. Darren hasn't performed adequately in the previous elections he's participated in, so he's gone and made a fake council of his own. And what do you know? He's the mayor of it. Congratulations!
So we elected a mayor, which happened to be me.
The incredible thing about the Frankston People's Council, as you call it, is that it's now gone to the stage of crashing the real council in Frankston. Council fight!
You work for us. You're a corporation. We know.
It's interesting because Darren is doing fuck all advertising, but he's formed basically a little parallel hidden community out there by virtue of a few little Facebook groups that he's got going, and they do permaculture, they do basically living on the land. They're trying to get a whole alt community going. So he has a very dedicated little following as such. So you watch with little to no advertising at all. This guy will still manage to drum up, we reckon, a few thousand votes from kooks. Best of luck, Shadow Mayor.
We're trying to save this country.
The big dogs aren't known for having too many kooks within their fold. We're not saying that they don't have them, but they're not usually being very public and ruining their own career interests by being a kook. But the libs have two that I'd really like you to be aware of. One is Moira Deeming. She's pretty much the exact replica replacement of Bernie Finn, who she replaced. So if you like abortion rights, you shouldn't like Moira. Also, here's this guy, Richard Riordan, another lib. He's coaching a child in this video to say anti-mask shit. Look at the way his mouth moves when the kid's mouth moves. This is extremely creepy stuff.
Masks at school because the teachers can't hear them properly, they can't see the smells every day, and then big kids have to wear masks.
This is not a very votable man. Long story short, just on the subject of the big dogs, Andrews came up during 2018 with a pretty big majority. Then COVID happened. He's under investigation from IBAC for stuff like the red shirts, branch stacking fiasco and mismanagement of funds, right? 2 Labor MPs have left the party. A number of them aren't recontesting their seats. It does look through the COVID period like there was a lot of internal turmoil. Matthew Guy stopped being Liberal leader after his inflammatory and racist law and order African gangs campaign last time that fell fucking flat. But he's back now. If either win any seat, Greens are likely to guarantee supply to Labor, and Nationals will enter a coalition, obviously, as you know, with Liberals. Done. That's it. I don't know. What do you what do you want me to say, guys? I'm mostly with the kooks and the little guys. I'm not like, I was going to say I'm not friendly Geordies. Isn't it depressing that I can't actually think of any other political video commentators in Australia who might do anything remotely within the realm of this, apart from friendly Geordies. It's not a crowded market, guys, I'm telling you. New Dems is a split-off party from an ex-Labor Member of Parliament. DLP is an old offshoot of the current Labor Party. Right-wing trad Catholic culture war shitbags of no real note until fairly recently, because now, Bernie Finn, you remember him, is running for re-election as leader of the party. Now, Bernie Finn started politics as part of the DLP before going over to the Liberal Party, and is now back after being booted by the Liberals for recommending mandatory abortion for survivors of rape, which is always, I think, the hallmark of a good guy. Adnan Somyurek recently left the Labor Party after he got fucked over by Andrews, and now he's accusing the Andrews government, which he was part of for 7 years, of being an elitist cabal of socialist lefties. Ex-cabbie lobbyist party, pretty much what it says on the tin. I don't know what to say. I do think the logo is pretty cute. Fucking no seatbelts or whatever, something about Bitcoin. Fuck 'em. Previously, the Natural Medicine Party goes to great lengths to clarify that they are not an anti-vax party, very great lengths. However, they're basically kooks who like homeopathy, naturopathy, and sunning their assholes. They want to see Medicare pay for pseudoscientific bullshit. They're time wasters. Anti-migration Malthusian libertarians. Get in the fucking bed. Shooters, fishers, and farmers specifically hate the Animal Justice Party. They're not the only ones, but I'll save the best for last. Did you know that Pauline Hanson's One Nation is abbreviated to PHON, P-H-O-N? Which is really appropriate because they're phoning it in. They've got 3 candidates that I'm sure should probably have something interesting about them, but I've looked and I didn't find it. You should be able to be like, whoa, what a fringe weirdo, what extreme beliefs. They don't. They're racists, and they have a PHON playbook, which is, we're all very tired of these people existing in our space by now, aren't we? UAP spent a record amount of money at the 2022 federal election, which I'm sure you'll all remember the billboards, won't you? But it netted them fuck all except for a desk job for a real estate agent in Victoria who does not suffer ever from imposter syndrome. So they're showing this year really doesn't have the glitz and glamour as such of 6 months ago. Gone are all the billboards. Instead, we have a pretty bland assortment of right-leaning, small business-loving, anti-Dan Andrews god-lovers who just, I don't know, they're not doing it for me. One of them is a guy called Jeff Shaw, who is a disgraced former Liberal politician, deciding to take another tilt. He's the head of the Victorian UAP. A guy campaigning to remove, corrupt Dan Andrews, who was once suspended for misusing parliamentary entitlements. Lol. And the other one is James Uncles, whose primary goal, this is pretty cool, is the exoneration and veneration of Breaker Morant. I like that. That sounds like a fun campaign platform. Let's get more of that going for these time wasters, Time wasters should get behind novel campaign promises, you know what I mean? Stop being racists and obsessing over Dan, please. Well, I've just said the word stop obsessing over Dan, but we're now going completely the opposite direction, and we're looking at the Restored Democracy Sack Dan Andrews Party, which obviously leaves nothing to the imagination. This is, I think, the peak of parasocial, pandemic-era Dan Andrews hate obsession given life. Also, you have to love a party where there's 17 upper house candidates, but 14 of them have made next to no information available to the electorates that they're purportedly attempting to represent. That is how you build trust in this world. The person who leads them is one Tosh Jake Finnegan, who's an audio engineer, cum journalist, cum political consultant, who used to staff for Labor and now sort of centres himself around the red shirts thing, which I am not going to go into because I can't be bothered. I'll never be a real political commentator, will I? Angry Victorians Party is a rebrand of the Australian Values Party, which is another nominally anti-Dan, free speech, deregulation, small business, medical free choice and suck the toes of a veteran type party. The most notable thing about this party for me is that it has Catherine Cumming in it. And boy do I hate Catherine Cumming. If you've seen my anti-lockdown rally rundown videos, you'd know how much I detest this person. She went in with Darren Hinch's party last time and she dogged it and she resigned to become independent the day after she got in because, as I understand it, she didn't get voted their leader. And then she developed this disgusting pick-me energy which really irrationally annoyed me. Trying to curry favour with the anti-lockdown movement that didn't want her at the outset. They used to boo her at rallies. Yeah.
And then one of the other most important things for us to do, so we're not seen by the others. Could I ask you all, please, to actually start to social distance? No, please, please.
Which political party?
Please.
And she tried ever so hard to ingratiate herself with it over years as she gradually nursed her, what I think is a fermenting breakdown. She disgusts me, she does. Recently she was embroiled in a dispute over whether her own independence party got enough votes to register. It didn't. So she went into the VEC and got really mad about calling them liars. Apparently she had to be chased out of the VEC office because she was being a pest. Look, it's her breakdown, guys. We're all just watching it. But this is definitely her last term in office. She's fucking out, I assure you, and I can't wait. And yeah, just to briefly touch on this moment before we stop discussing Catherine Cumming, hopefully for the final time ever.
I'm angry.
To make Daniel Andrews turn into red mist.
Let's see this moment for what it really is. Catherine Cumming knows that she's in her last term ever because she's train-wrecked all of her real political chances anyway. She's developed a nauseating pick-me complex with a movement that never really enjoyed having her around because she has net zero charm. And the only way that she sees that she can curry favour with the movement is by saying progressively more shocking things. We all know Catherine wouldn't do anything to this effect. Obviously the danger is she might inspire someone in the movement to do it, but then again they've been telling each other these bloody lullabies for so long that I doubt any of them even take themselves seriously anymore. It's just pathetic.
Normally we would call it pink mist, but I want him into red mist.
You're in the reserves, you fucking bullshit artist daydreamer. Shut the fuck up, pink mist. We would call it pink mist. You're a lifelong career politician, mate.
Give anyone here in the army a job to blow someone up, and they will!
Desperately hoping that if she says the most G.I. Joe shit conceivable, then some of these fucking flogs will vote for her. Stinks of desperation. See ya, Catherine. The big one is Freedom Party of Victoria. A real all-star congregation this is, of pretty bizarre units and many familiar faces to us as well. It's like the Legion of Doom for some of the worst people to run for Parliament. Let's go through some of them. Oh, I've seen Morgan around the traps for ages. He's been trying to make a grind for himself out of ambient far-right clauses, whatever he can glom onto, since 2017 or so. First time I ever saw him was pretending to be a member of the public in an Avi Yemeni video. And he started doing a China thing for a while. Then a certain virus gave him a new angle. He started RDA with his partner, Monica Smith. We've already covered Becky Spellman in the previous Cook Candidates video, the federal one. She's pals with Nazis. She loves guns. She's really great election material. Morgan Jonas doesn't know how to pronounce his name.
They're not all here today, one of them is, but we have Greg Hansen running for Eastern Region. So Greg, welcome to the team.
Greg's done something I thought no person would ever do in any field of life, let alone during a political campaign. He's picketed against child protection. bit sus. I found this gross group of drooling right-wingers being a bit creepy about her, which is, you know, which they are wont to do, and it was a bit sad and weird.
She's got a great personality, that's how we used to say it. Sarah's sharp, and the more you see her, the more you like her. Some of these supermodel libs are ugly as soon as they expose their pro-abort demon rat selves.
Cool, bro, no worries. So, guys like this have all been doing this thing, right, where they keep putting shit outside Dan Andrews' office. They've been doing it a lot. Banners, placards all over it. They think it's a real zinger. And, like, I get that they think they're doing a good job, right? But I know, no one's not making me mad. I ain't fuck up. But I don't think it actually wins elections to keep kind of mildly defacing someone's office. Like, Dan Andrews, you gotta realise, Dan Andrews is a fucking Labour behemoth, guys. This isn't gonna cut the mustard. There's a lot I could say about Damien. I'm surprised I've covered him as little as I have during my videos in the past. But basically, this guy really cooked himself and came to show his face among the freedom movement. And yeah, he used to be on Neighbours. But look at him now, mate, outside, where else? Dan Andrews' office.
The crisis for the Liberal Party is they don't know how to deal with globalism. They're basically sociopathic, bureaucratic atheists that we're fighting against.
It's goodbye Ramsay Street, tell you what. Fucking pandemic, eh? Tough. This is a cooked guy with doctor at the start of his name, which means he can be trusted. He used to be a member of the Australian Federation Party. He received 1,721 votes in the federal election, and he will do heaps better here. I'm absolutely convinced of it. This guy fucked up when it became clear that he was running for two freedom parties at once. Oops. Like, politics is tough for politicians, let alone for some idiot, right? He runs a cooked anti-lockdown page, I believe, called Rural Rebel, with a couple of others. After this conflict of interest, is that even it? It's just like this double rego was found. He just pulled out. Lol. But I thought I'd mention him here anyway for fun. Okay, so this guy starts out looking like a proper fundy religious preacher guy. If you visit his preacher's website, www.markwstrother.com. But then you do a bit more looking online and you find out that he was an artist 6 months ago, not a preacher. Well, if you look at this video...
I'm just sitting here enjoying the morning sunshine and thinking about how much I love art, and it makes me happy.
But then if you look at this video, you find out that he was a worker fighting the Fair Work Commission a few months ago for justice, according to this other video. And now he's also a politician. Turns out, Mark contains multitudes. And what I mean by that is that he's a fucking daydreamer. When he's wearing this at Cooper, it's definitely like the I'm a rugged countryman style of Cooper. It's the I'm a daydreamer style of Cooper.
I don't know, I'm making this up as I go.
Aiden used to be in the Katter Party. Here he is crashing a union rally to try and take it over, to talk about freedom shit. That is such a popular move. People love it when you do things like that, so keep it up, Aiden. You know what else people love? They love it when you hire RVM's cooked sacco Daniel Jones to do strange things around the tyres of people's cars while you're campaigning for the nth time outside Daniel Andrews' office. Here they are looking a little bit caught after the owner of the car filmed Daniel. Anyway, so he got charged with attempted criminal damage. Now, I want you to remember that this isn't Daniel's first rodeo when it comes to being weird and creepy at elections, because he actually campaigned in the 2018 state election, running with RVMney for the Australian Liberty Alliance. He got fuck all votes, and then, because, you see, Daniel Jones used to be a sad boy emo goth in a past life before he became G.I. Joe. And so when he lost in the state election, he went into a bit of a depressed spiral and kind of posted sad boy emo goth lyrics, plus pictures of him murdering mannequins. Now, obviously, this time he's not a candidate per se, but he is making a fucking goose out of himself. So I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of breakdown he'll have after this election. Because of the way Victoria's electoral system works, you technically can get a seat in the upper house with less than 1% of a first preference vote. There's a convoluted, shitty system of preference swapping, wheeling and dealing, what have you. But it does mean that someone who shouldn't even be in Parliament can often be, regardless of their political leaning. So what I mean to say is that maybe one of these aforementioned completely undeserving hive mind idiots will wind up being given an opportunity far beyond anything they've earned. Best of luck to them. I'm fucking bored of talking about them. Sick of them. They're all the same. Interchangeable Sackdan Andrewses. Fuck them all off. Let's get to the best party. I thought I'd save this one till last. Like the Transport Matters Party, I like their logo. And hey, I love pets too. Companions? Fuck yeah. Give me companions as well as pets. I'm in. I wonder what makes them different to the Animal Justice Party. I love animals. Let's get some pets going. Let's have a look at their website. CAP will always support your rights to own an animal and pursue your chosen activity with that animal. Whether it be a pet dog, racing greyhound, saddle horse, thoroughbred racehorse, standardbred harness horse, show jumper, event horse, show dog, obedience dog, guide dog, assistant dog, working dog, hunting dog, show cat, reptile, bird, goat, guinea pig, pet rat, or any other animal, whether it has fur, feathers, scales, or skin or hair, or simply an important member of your family, CAP will support you. I decided to largely forego the Pokemon theme for this video to, I suppose bolster my effective disinterest in the Victorian state election. But now, it turns out we've inadvertently landed on the most Pokemon political party ever. What a world! What's going on here? This is a party for dog breeders, horse breeders, or blood stock as it's charmingly called in this world of humans, and greyhound industry lobbyists. They're specifically anti-Animal Justice Party. That's the entire point of them, really, just to demystify it. Their whole idea was to go, okay, let's see if we can create a voting bloc out of people who like animals but don't mind what we do with animals in the shadows. And I kind of think that like even if you're not sort of like a hardline vegan animal rights activist, I think all of us have a degree to which we kind of do mind what you do with animals in the shadows. Do you know what I mean? I think it's part and parcel with being an ethical person when we go, maybe some of the stuff that you get up to with that horse in the dark should be monitored, to a degree. So he's a breeder himself. I wouldn't say if that denotes it being a puppy farm or not. I wouldn't dare. I'm an outsider. I think that's meant to denote, poor conditions and churning out as many dogs as possible. However, I do know that he's gone and formed a party that seems to aim to reduce puppy farm regulations. So, I don't know. What does that tell you? I don't know. What else are they about, though? Oh, I don't know. This is the bit that I hate. They're about small business, law and order, taxes, deregulation. Ugh. This is the shittest part of looking at cook candidates, that you go and you read through their other pretend policies. If you're the Hats for Dogs party, just say you like hats on dogs. Don't fucking pretend you've ever thought about the economy. Do you know what I mean? That's it, guys. I hope you've had your kook fill. Remember, the purpose of things like this, if there is one, apart from just looking at funny people, is that you can let these idiots into a cushy desk job if you don't vote well. So do it. Vote well. Vote mindfully. Avoid kooks. In your local electorate, wherever you're voting, look up all the candidates. Do a cursory search from online so you're not voting for a fuckwit. Cheers. Support my work at patreon.com/TomTanuki.